All right, everybody, welcome to the summer transfer window close of day special brought to you by APSA Services on the Folletonians. Eric in Overland Park, Kansas, Ped in Old Swan, Liverpool. How's it going, Ped?
It's going okay, Eric.
Yeah. Um, we might need some help at defense. I'm just making a broad general statement from the past first three matches we've had, conceding 10 goals. Um, most of which towards the end of matches is kind of discerning.
Yeah, it is. But it's not going to happen, Eric, so forget about it.
It's not going to happen. What are you
It's not going to
talking
happen.
about, man?
Not happening. We're not signing anyone.
We're not signing anybody. That's what you said last year
We're not
about this
signing
time.
anyone.
That's what you said this time last year. There's nothing going on. We're
There's
not going to
nothing
sign
going on.
anybody. What do you mean?
There's nothing
Why are
going
we
on.
doing this then?
Because people... And we have to be just in case.
Whoa, that was like some
just
Max
hold
Headroom
people's
bed.
hands.
That wasn't even like robot bed. That was like Max Headroom bed. Nice. I liked it.
Yes. Let's sort of say what's going on at the moment.
Sure.
At the moment, there's nothing going
on. Cleverly? Rumors?
Well, it's not rumor. It's Cleverly, I believe, is. I don't know where he is. People are saying he's in Finch Farm. Maybe he is in Finch Farm. It doesn't mean anything
Why are you not at Finch Farm?
because I'm not an idiot.
Oh, okay.
No,
Oh,
I'm
just
not
a
going to stand
disclaimer,
there
there will
because I'm
be
doing
no.
this. Because I'm doing
Yeah.
this.
Right. I just wanted to start out the show with a disclaimer. There will be no sex toys making an appearance in the Folletonians podcast.
Well, you say that, Eric.
There will be no sex toys coming from this side of the Folletonians podcast. I cannot vouch for what happens over there.
That's because you're a Mormon. I'm not even sure you've got boy parts.
I don't even know what to tell you.
But right, so Cleverly, people are saying Cleverly's a Finch Farm. We don't necessarily know if that's true or that's false.
Well, let's get into the Cleverly situation as far as his contract with Man United, because he is out of contract at the end of this season. So it's kind of like the same thing that we saw whenever Spurs was coming in for PNR. It's the same thing we saw last year whenever we were going for Barry. We didn't want to really pay for him. So is it possible that we could get Cleverly on loan?
That seems to be the sticking point at the moment. Manchester United do not want to let him go on loan because they've got the likes of Aston Villa lining up who are willing to pay £8 million for him or near and near about. So why would you let someone go on loan when you can get supposedly £8 million for them?
Yeah, and Villa is above us in the table. They are a better side. So
now Cleverly's been holding out for a move towards it apparently all day, and Everton are sort of playing the cards. You know that they're trying to work it so that he's in the right place at the right time. Man United get to the point where they think, right, well, we're going to have to do something here, and that thing would be to just loan him. So I think that's how it stands at the moment, but I don't think really want to budge on that. So that's where the difficulty stands. Now, whether something changes over the next hour, I don't know. What I've been told is that it's not. It's more likely that he'll stay with Man United or go to another club. But the chances of him signing for Everton, I think, are maybe 30% at the moment.
well,
and that seems to be the only thing.
45 minutes left to get something done if it's going to happen.
Yeah, well, and as you said, we were here last year. We were bitching and moaning because we were selling Fellaini and nothing seemed to be happening. Lukaku was rumoured to be going to West Brom. James McCarthy had apparently fallen through. We didn't know where we were with Gareth Barry. Then the next minute, Gareth Barry turns up, McCarthy turns up, and Romelu Lukaku's getting done. So it's. Things can happen, things can change very quickly, but
Right.
I don't think anything can change to the point where, you know, we're going to be getting anyone else. So we'll just keep our ear to the ground, and if people are watching, make sure you get in touch with us on Twitter and let us know if you think something's going on, to let us know about it. I know there's been some rumours tonight about a bid for James McCarthy. Well, maybe there has been a bid for him, but I don't really think it means anything. I don't really think we're willing to sell anybody. So
yeah, it's going to take quite a bit to get McCarthy away from Martinez. I would imagine.
Yeah, the other one as well is the other one is the long saga of David Hennon.
Yes, yeah, it's been confirmed by his current, well, his parent club, Anderlecht, that he is signed for Olympiacos.
But now there's a rumor that
Olympiacos is going to loan him to us.
Yeah, so there you go. So yeah, so that's
very weird.
So Everton weren't willing to pay £3 million for him. They've had him for a month. They know what they value him,
if not 6 weeks.
Yeah, so they know what they value him at, and it's not £3 million. Now it looks like Olympiacos are willing to pay that. But then, as I say, there's rumours now that he could be loaned to us. So I don't know how true that is, but I don't think anything's going to happen. It's sad that nothing's going to happen. We all like that little bit of extra excitement, but not only do we like that little bit of excitement, we actually need some players. We need some defenders after what we've witnessed recently. Some players need to kick up the backside, and it doesn't look like it's happened. And we've going through. We're going to go through the last day of the season without signing anyone. But if we don't sign anyone by 11 o'clock or whatever time, it doesn't mean,
or whatever time it is, wherever 11 o'clock wherever it turns 11 o'clock.
It doesn't even mean that. It doesn't even mean that. It doesn't even mean 11 o'clock if you sign them. But it doesn't. We've still had a pretty good transfer window, and it's even better that we've signed players beforehand.
Yeah, it's hard to get the fume meter rising too high whenever we've got the players like Eto'o in on a permanent. We've got Lukaku in on a permanent. We've got Barry in on a permanent deal. Loan Atsu in. We've got some of our foundation players re-signing for many years. I think if it wasn't for the fact that the last match that we just had to witness was so horrible at the back, we would be just hoping to ride out this day and see the window close and not really worry about it. From an offensive standpoint, the match against Chelsea was amazing. We played really well for a large chunk of the time, possessing the ball, passing greatly. Some of the goals were fantastic. It's just shocking how poor the defense was.
Well, unfortunately, we've been saying it for weeks. We've been saying how unprepared the team looked going into the season, and this game really, really highlighted how weak we look at the back. And to be honest, that's really, we're gonna treat this like a normal podcast, and we're gonna talk about the game because there's gonna be very, very little else to talk about. But
until there's like 3 things to talk about in the last 5 minutes, like last year.
There's not going to be anything to talk about. Honestly, we're not signing anyone.
That's what you said last year.
We're not signing. There's no time to sign anyone now.
Did you not listen to what we said last year? There was less than nothing going on this time last year.
There's nothing going on. But we know what the problems are. We've seen them highlighted. 10 goals in 3 games. When we've gone out and scored 7 in 3, that shows what the problem is. The centre forwards are doing the job at one end, and the defenders are not doing the job at the other. But what I would say is, I do think there's more reasons that we'll talk about when we get into this game a little bit more. But it's worrying. But at the same time as it's worrying, I don't think that it's such a massive problem that that it can't be addressed within the squad, because we'd all have loved to have got players in, but at the same time, are you looking for a quick fix, or are you looking for, someone who's going to be there and, at the right side of centre defence, we've obviously got Jagielka and we've got Stones. And and we've got Distan and Alcaraz on the left hand side. So really, what we need is someone on the left hand side, really.
Matt Besler?
No, because he's American and most of them are rubbish. So
right.
So yeah.
Okay.
Okay. But even if you're gonna go and get a player like that, you've got to do the work on them, haven't you? You can't just say, right, this is what we're gonna do. You've got to do the homework, and you can't just pick a name out of thin air. And certainly you can't pick a name, someone who's going to be in a different country, miles and miles away. You've got to get something that's realistic that you can bring in. So it's a strange one. I'll never understand why it gets left to this time. I'll never ever understand that. What's the point of that? You know what I mean? Why did he do that? Why do teams really leave it to the last minute? I don't understand that. It's like this. It's like they all buy in to the whole Sky Sports nonsense.
Jim White, yeah.
Yeah, it's
follow Tonian's live.
It's actually really well. We're doing it because people want us to do it and stuff. But I actually think that leaving things to the very last minute is quite unprofessional, really. It's really unprofessional, this mad dash on the last day when you've had a whole summer to bring players in. I don't quite understand that. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. So
yep.
It's a strange one. It's a strange one.
Before we get into the match that just happened, let's look at the fixture list, because Europa League has been set. We're in Group H, and we're with Lille, Wolfsburg, and Krasnodar.
Krasnodar.
Which really sounds like a planet from Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, I was going to say it does sound like a planet from somewhere else.
Right, yeah. Either way, it sounds like it's a bitch to get to.
Yeah, I think I'd probably actually fancy going across a couple of galaxies that are flying over the Ukraine.
Right. I mean,
yeah.
As long as you have a good soundtrack, then it'll be fine. But it's the second. It's match day 2 away at Krasnodar. It's the 2nd of October, so early in the Siberian winter over there, and hopefully weather won't be too terrible. It's early days in the group, so get that most horrible match out of the way as soon as possible. I think it could have been worse. It definitely could have been worse to where a December 20th date at Krasnodar. I don't fancy that at all.
No, it's not. If we look at the group, or the whole group, it's not a bad group. I mean, we've got three obviously tough games, or 3 teams, and
right.
From that
point, that was always going to be the case whenever we dropped into pot 3. It was always going to be we were going to be in a group to where we should be as good, if not better, than the team that was in pot 2 that we get paired with. So it was going to be that situation to where any team that drew us is going to be like, crap, I would rather much have any of the other teams in pot 3 than Everton.
Yeah, I would far rather have a couple of tough teams that were quite close. I mean, Lille you could swing to Lille. And Hamburg's Wolfsburg's a pretty easy place to get to as well. So from that point of view, you don't mind having slightly tougher games, because if you go to they're going to have for Lille have got a brand new stadium for the Euros. Wolfsburg's a pretty new stadium as well.
Yeah.
Krasnodar are actually getting a really, really good one for the World Cup, but it's not built yet. So you go into Champions League facilities and Champions League style pitch, so that becomes, that makes it a little bit fairer, where you could go and play a lesser team in a place which takes you 10 hours to get to, and then playing on a terrible pitch with terrible changing rooms, and the food's crap and all the rest of it. You know what I mean? Which Krasnodar probably will be a little bit like that. So from that point of view, it's better, and then you're flying back. It'll be easy to fly back for those games. So I just think it's a good one, and as you say, you get that game out quite early.
Yeah, definitely. Whenever the fixture list came out, I was just really happy to see that was match day 2, 2nd of October. Go there, get it done, get it out of the way. The only bad thing is it's lodged in between 2 away ties in the league. It's right preceding the away derby and right prior to going to Old Trafford.
We mentioned this on the last show. The fixtures are going to be ridiculous, coming up in the next couple of months. September, I mean, we play 5 games in something like 17 days, is it? Something like that?
14 days, from the 13th to the 27th. So 13th is West Brom away, and the 27th is Liverpool away. So yeah, there's 5 matches between that, because League Cup 3rd round draw away at Swansea got placed on the 23rd, and so we've got West Brom away on the 13th. We've got Wolfsburg home in the Europa League on the 18th. Crystal Palace home in Barclays Premier League on the 21st. Then away to Swansea on the 23rd. Then away to Liverpool on the 27th. It's going to be absolutely insane.
Yeah, and it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't slow down. There's another 5 in October, plus the possibility of a 4th round League Cup. There's another 6 in November, and then
December. It's absolutely just stupid.
The 7 plus maybe a League Cup game as well. So
right,
we're not stopping now, and
right. So we're looking at the 5 in September as the light month.
And I suppose that's where people would have been looking at it, thinking, right, we need to bring more bodies in, because I know, I think they were willing to let Duffy go, and then we're looking to bring somebody else in, and for one reason or another, it just hasn't happened. Whether the targets just couldn't get them, or whether things have changed recently, I don't know. But he's sticking with the squad he's got. Still got Kone to come back. Still got Oviedo to come back. Gibson's there now, ready to play games next month when it starts getting hectic.
Right.
We've got. We'll talk about Eto'o in a bit, but we've seen what he can do already. We've got Lukaku to come back fit as well. It's not doom and gloom, is it? Let's be honest. A couple of bad days at the office, which with a little bit of tinkering, a couple of changes here and there can be sorted out. And I mean, as I'll talk about as soon as we get into the game, it's not all about the defense. There's tactical issues that can be addressed as well that we could look at as well.
Yeah, should we check in with Jim White? Is there anything going on as far as Everton is concerned?
There's nothing going on, Eric.
Okay, so let's honestly, go ahead.
We're not getting anyone. We're not getting anyone. Honestly, tell you now, Cleverly's not happening. It's not happening. Simple as that. Just hasn't been enough time to get it done. That Man United obviously do not want to put him out on loan, because as far as they're concerned, that's like giving a player away. They want to sell him, so that's not going to happen.
Right.
So it's just one of those things.
So let's just go ahead and jump into the Chelsea match. It was crap from the beginning.
Yeah, you're playing a team like Chelsea. The last thing you can do is give them a goal in the first 40 seconds. The second to last thing you can do is give them two goals in the first 3 minutes.
3 minutes, yeah.
Because that just gives you a mountain to climb. They're a very, very good side, and once you give away goals, give away silly goals, give away poor goals, then there's not much down for you.
Yep. But it seemed after we conceded twice, everything seemed a lot better as far as
Well, did it?
how Everton was playing.
The first goal is a complete giveaway by Jagielka trying to play a high offside.
Yeah,
Second goal, yes, it shouldn't have been a goal because Ivanovic was offside, but then that's been slightly evened out, hasn't it, by Jagielka
Naismith's
on that. Well, no, Jagielka losing the ball, Costa going through and being onside and giving offside, and Tim Howard clearly handballing it outside the box, which would have been an instant red card, and also he would have missed a game or two. So what you lose, you sometimes gain back. But as you were saying, then we really did get some control over the game and started playing really well and moving the ball well and sort of we were actually really patient considering we were 2-0 down. We were moving it and waiting for the right opportunities to arrive, and that's a real sort of that's a real side of the team now that we're seeing quite often. It's not just something that is a fluke. We're doing that quite often, and we normally get rewarded for that patience as well.
Yeah, it's really just confusing. We've been so used to defend first mentality, and that definitely seems to have just gone out the window. We've conceded now 10 goals in the first 3 matches, and as we mentioned, we need somebody in this transfer window, and Pet is raining on that play. He's pulling the Greg O'Keefe card on the Follow-tonians here for everyone. So
it's not happening.
Okay. So
it might happen.
Yeah, it might happen. It probably won't. But to keep in Everton fashion, we really fancy this goal in the 45th minute of the first half.
Yeah, it's becoming a little trademark, isn't it? And what a goal it was as well. Absolutely fantastic goal. Great play on the edge of the box. A good ball into Coleman.
Yeah.
And a really good ball into the box. And Morales has leaped like he's like Cristiano Ronaldo to put that away, and it was a fantastic header, and it was the perfect time, and absolutely brilliant to get that goal
out of the reach of Courtois, and yeah, I mean you've got to pull one back before halftime.
Yeah, and it's as we say, we're playing football, we're moving the ball around the box, we're keeping it. We're keeping it nice and tidy. There is a patience, There's sometimes you just think, right, we'll just smash one, but we're keeping patience and we're moving the ball and we're finding opportunities. And when you see the goals we scored, they've all been really good goals. So
yeah,
it gives you confidence. That gives you confidence going forward.
Yeah, definitely. Second half. Came out and it was more of the same for us. I mean, a lot of possession, not really anything major to worry about. We seemed to get really settled.
Well, it was always going to be who got that next goal, really, to decide or affect the game. Yeah, they came out, and I suppose what they didn't want to do is fall to bits. They didn't need to necessarily chase the game. They just had to wait for opportunities. Mourinho tactically, knows the ins and outs of every team and knows the ins and outs of a team while watching them. So he's very good on that side. And we started committing a few little mistakes. We were looking good going forward, but I think there was one with Jagielka. Lost the ball and then Costa run into the space he'd left and Howard made a good save, and then it's really unfortunate how we concede the goal. It's for me, well, I say unfortunate by the last touch, but for me, Ian Robben gets away from McCarthy far too easy. He just runs away from him. And
who?
You see, pardon?
Robben?
Did I say Robben? I mean Hazard.
Hazard. Yeah, that's okay.
I'm reading about. I'm trying to read the internet while talking and reading my phone and trying to get as much information as I can. Hazard got away from McCarthy far too easy, and something we didn't see last season at all. I remember when we played Manchester United, and he's putting in like last minute tackles to make sure they don't score.
Right.
He looks tired. Other players look tired, and it's a real it's a real strange opening to the season in that respect. But anyway, he gets in the box. He's just going to fizz one across, and Coleman sticks a foot out, which 9 times out of 10 will let his foot and go out for a corner.
Right.
This time it just spins off his foot, ends up in the back of the net.
Yeah. Howard's leaning to go across to follow the path of the ball. He sees it's going across the face of the goal, and it gets slightly deflected behind Howard, between him and the near post. And there's I saw some people giving Howard flack about that one. I don't know how you can blame Howard for getting beat near post on that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's reactionary. It's purely reactionary. You see the ball going across, you have to start going that way. There's no way that you know that Coleman's going to get his foot in there and that it's going to go in behind you. That's just me sticking up for Timmy H.
No, he's finds himself on his backside more than most people, I'll be honest. But it was all fun and games after that, wasn't it? Costa decides to do something very unsporting, very unbecoming of the English.
Yeah, especially after he's on a yellow from earlier incident with Coleman. I don't understand how a referee cannot see that.
Because it's not necessarily, it's unsporting conduct, but it's very rare that someone will get sent off for it as a second yellow card. And the reaction from Tim Howard was, in a lot of people's eyes, a red card for grabbing him by the collar. Now, I suppose what he's done there is he said, well, I'll balance this up. I'll give Howard a yellow card and won't give Costa anything. Therefore, because if he'd sent Costa off, he would have sent Howard off, and who would that have hurt more? Do you know what I mean? So
right.
So I think he balanced it out. Now the officials were awful all game. They were awful,
horrible,
absolutely awful. They've got so many decisions wrong on both sides.
Yes,
it was really, really poor. But that happens, and then it looked 3-1. You're thinking that's it, game over.
Right.
We instantly come down the other end. Aidan McGeady with a fantastic run inside. A great run by Stephen Naismith into the space. And a great run by Romelu Lukaku as well.
To open up the space, yeah.
To create that space. 3 fantastic runs. Sometimes football is more than you just sort of you see in front of you. It's a lot of different things going on that, the players get taught. And his first touch was brilliant, and his second touch was magnificent, and he has just become such a fantastic finisher, Stephen Naismith. You can almost bet your house on him that he's gonna score when he gets a chance like that. And it reminds me of one he got last year against Villa. It's almost like you take it with one foot and then you quickly hit it with the other foot. So that shows really good control and good finishing. And
again, great balance.
But back in the game.
Yeah.
Back in the game straight away.
And then McGeady, his last touch is the assist on that goal. He comes off for new boy Samuel Eto'o.
Yeah, but before he can draw too much breath, we're another goal behind. Before we know it.
Yeah. And this one, I think, was the one that really just irked me more than any of them all, because Matic's got the ball up at the top of the box, and it's like we just figure, oh, he's just going to pass it sideways. He's just going to pass it backwards. We don't really need to do anything. We don't need to force his hand. Why do you let him have that much space? Why?
I've got no idea how he's done that, and the fact that the 2 centre halves both went to block it. So why isn't one getting in his face and closing down and the other one blocking behind it? But they both go to block, it gets a nick and just ends up in the back of the net, and it was kamikaze by the defenders all day. It really was. Not just the defenders, but players not closing down, not getting tight, not stopping runs, not following runs, not getting anyone's face, and the pressing game is really poor. And we're giving away so many really, really poor goals at the moment.
Yeah. And then down the other end, not even another 2 minutes later, ball in from the left, and Eto'o kind of gets a little bit of space, and and heads it past Courtois, open his account. Not even 5 minutes after coming onto the pitch.
Yeah, and Eto won the free kick as well. Not to forget, he wins a good free kick.
Yeah.
He really didn't have any right to win that free kick. Wins the free kick, dusts himself down and gets himself in the box. And Baines just fizzes one in, a low one fizzed in, and Eto just steers it brilliantly and puts it in the only spot he could in the goal. And
I think he got a little bit of spin on it with his head, with his hair, maybe just kind of got it to curl in away from, like, around the keeper a little bit, right inside the far post.
Yeah, it was a magnificent header, and it was interesting the way they done it because, as I say, Eto wasn't inside the box with all the other players. He was out. He was like on the outside of all those players, and to sort of spin it round the outside and used all the pace on the ball, showed all his skill, all his experience. It was magnificent.
Yeah, class finish.
Class, and he was class all game. He was class every time he got the ball. He was moving it well. He was, creating chances for other people, creating chances for himself. And I just thought the little 20-minute cameo we had was absolutely fantastic. And it just showed you that there's plenty in the tank for that guy. And hopefully we're going to see so much more of him.
Yeah, we definitely will. As we mentioned, there's plenty of fixtures coming up, and then not even a minute later. It's like, so you get it to 4-3, and you're thinking, there's 15 minutes or so left. The way that this thing is going, we could get another one. Let's tie this thing at 4. But it's just not going to happen because we concede again, and it's 5 for Chelsea.
Yeah, we can see again. It's a really, really poor goal again, isn't it? It's players being allowed to run on their own, and people not tracking back, and McCarthy again not tracking back, and players just looking a little bit disjointed. And what I would have done at 4-3 is, as soon as that goal would have gone in, I would have changed something in the midfield. I would have brought Bessage on and freshened it up, or I would have actually.
At the time, that sounded like a good idea.
Well, this is what people get paid to do, isn't it? And
right.
Or even put 3 in midfield and have 3 up front and say, right, it's 4-3. We're not going to lose another goal at the back, so it's up to us to go and get this winning goal. Because they were pretty poor at the back, Chelsea. And we had
their nothing special.
Yeah, we had their number every time we were going forward. We looked sharp. Coleman was rampaging down the right. Baines was doing okay down the left. Everyone was doing their bit, and you just thought, right, maybe if we'd gone and got the midfield a little bit more solid, we could have got ourselves back into it with them in those 15 minutes. So from that point of view, I think that's something he could have changed. And the other thing is, we concede the goal, but then we have a fantastic move, absolutely wonderful move. Coleman into Eto and gives him it back, and he gives it and Morales and the little flick. And that gone in, that would have been one of the best goals for years.
Yeah,
I gets a little hand on it, and if that goes in at 5-4, again the momentum's back on our side, and the roar from the you can imagine what Goodison would have been like the last, whatever it was, 8 to 9 minutes going for it with
sure.
5-4 down. It would have just been fairy tale stuff. So
yeah, you've got the sense that if we would have been able to get it level, then it would have changed. It was the fact that we just could never draw it level.
Yeah, and that save took all the air out of, I think, the fans and the players, because I think they thought, right, that was the chance. We carved out this magnificent chance and we couldn't take it, and that was almost like that's it. And then
I want to see more of this match out of Morales. I want to see this from him more often. It's something I definitely think we've hoped to see more frequently, but for some reasons it just goes wanting. And I think we all know the potential that's there, the quality that's there. It's the heart and the desire that for some reason we have to question with him sometimes. But in this match, it was there for 90 minutes. It was there the entire time.
I just think he's a winger, and wingers drift in and out of games. And it's a really hard position to be consistent in because you don't see as much of the ball as everybody else. You know, everyone gets a good touch of the ball in the centre of the park, and on the wings it can come sporadically. And when you do get it, you're supposed to do something with it that will create a chance. And the way our wingers work is that they might get the ball, or they might have to come inside to get the ball. And I just think he looked a lot more like a player that could go inside and affect the game a little bit more. And he's got to have that desire now, and the tactics are going to have to suit him to be in that position more. And
yeah,
and just say, you know what, I'm going to have to be more consistent and do these things all the time, and not just do, you know. So I just think he's got so much more to give. I think definitely got so much more to give. But
that's all I was saying.
Yeah, we bring Besic on, and
well, I was gonna make a point before that, and it's just the fact that Chelsea's defenders seem to get hurt a lot in the last 5 minutes of this match, and it's not the World Cup. It's pathetic. You're the team that's supposed to be pegged to win the league, and Cahill's on the floor, Terry's on the floor, Cahill's on the floor again. Others are deciding to become area rugs in the last 5 minutes, and it's just I don't need that. The handbags show some class. You're supposed to be world class. Rise above it.
But that's we've seen that all game. Now we've seen that with the antics by Costa. That doesn't always. It's not always the way things are in games. So you know, that's not always the way things are. The higher you go, sometimes the less morals.
The whiny and.
Yeah. So and they broke the game up well, and then, you know, we just couldn't get that goal back, and then, you know, as we mentioned, then Besic comes on and decides to do something mad for his first touch. You know, Lukaku had to go off with that toe injury, and
right.
Besic just does something utterly stupid, but, you know, just one of those things. He's trying to be clever, and it just completely backfires. They go up the pitch and score the sixth, and it's just leaves a horrible taste in your mouth because, you know, as we were saying, we could have got that goal and got it back to, you know, 5-4.
Right.
The last, you know, it could have been different. It could have felt different, but that's what it was. You know,
it's just very confusing to score 3 goals against Chelsea at home and get doubled up and lose. It just does not. It doesn't feel. It's really hard to believe that the defense was as poor as it is, or was. Hopefully, it gets better. Any updates, Ben?
Well, no, there's nothing. Absolutely nothing. No, we said this last year. There was times when we lived very dangerously as well, and we got away with it. But this is where I wanted to. This is where I wanted to just talk a little bit about the rest of the team now, because if you think about that game on Saturday, we started with 4 forwards. We started with Aid McGeady, Morales, Naismith,
and Lukaku. Yeah.
Lukaku. Now, we know Naismith is playing the Barkley role, but he's not really playing the Barkley role, is he? He's playing as a number 10 striker.
Yeah, so he's reserved. Yeah.
So at the moment, we're playing with effectively 2 men in midfield to do all the defensive work, and
yeah, Barry and McCarthy, there's a lot on their shoulders.
Exactly, and when you're playing a team that good, who have that many good players in midfield, it can be hard. We've mentioned so many times the fitness and the conditioning doesn't look right, and what you've got to remember is the amount of times that McCarthy or Barry will win a ball, and Barkley will take that ball and will just, you know, take it and run up the field 30 yards with it and get it into a safe area, and we start playing from there. And we didn't have that. We didn't have that at the weekend. We might win the ball, but then they get it back. It's been like that in the last couple of games, and you know that's a big part of big part of the way we play. And also, you've got McGee, you've got Barry McCarthy as well, filling for the fullbacks when they go forward. So again, if they're filling in for the fullbacks when they go forward, another midfielder needs to drop in and be the extra man in midfield, and that wasn't necessarily there as well. Morelos got back at times, McGeady less so. Naismith is playing, as we say, a bit more of a number 10. He does get back and works really hard, but he doesn't go like Barkley doesn't go right into his own area, just outside the box.
Right.
So that's a big contributing factor as well. Having the protection in front of the two centre backs, that's a really important factor. And this goes back to what I was saying before about changing it when we got a goal behind. Maybe for the next game, what we've got to be looking at is bringing Besic or Gibson into that midfield and playing with three across the midfield and saying, right, this is the midfield. The fullbacks obviously give that width, and then we have Naismith maybe playing as a striker, and Morales and Lukaku maybe giving a little bit more width. I mean, we've seen the displays Lukaku's put in against Arsenal when he plays out wide. It suits him actually because he doesn't have to have his back to the goal so much. He can pick the ball up in areas where he can run at people, and that's where he's so effective. So maybe that's an area that we can start looking at. Three again in midfield, proper three in midfield.
So you're calling for like a 2-5-3 or something like that?
What I'm saying is that.
Or a 2-2-3.
No. Don't overcomplicate it. What I'm saying is that we go back to what we were playing when we've got Ross Barkley. We put a proper midfielder in a midfielder's position, and we have three midfielders, not two midfielders and a forward pretending to be a midfielder. Let Naismith continue to do what he's doing. Have maybe Morales on one side.
Yeah, why would you want that stopped?
Exactly. So let him do what he wants to do in that position, that false number 9, whichever way you want to do it. You can still have Romelu Lukaku or Morales coming off him, but you go back to the way we were. Go back to as Martin has said. Go back to basics. Naismith isn't a replacement for Ross Barkley. He is playing exceptionally well in that position. So maybe you don't need a Ross Barkley. Maybe you need a more conventional midfielder. Maybe a Darren Gibson or maybe a Besic. Put a proper midfielder
Cleverly.
in there. Cleverly's not signing, so shut up. And have three in midfield and say right, we're gonna have three protecting the back four. Obviously, one of them will break now and again. We've seen McCarthy break. I'm sure Besic could do that job. Gibson's got a great range of passing. They can all do that job. And let's go from there and start saying, right, we're going to be solid again, but we'll still have goals in us because we've got plenty of players in the team who can affect us. We've got Etu there to come off the bench or can start games as well. We need to get back to a little bit more of the basics because what we were on Saturday was wide open. And that's got to change a little bit, but it doesn't have to change too much because we've got the players who can play in our original system. It's just that at the moment, I just think we're far too open. We're far too open.
What's wrong with the pairing of Distin and Jagielka that for years now has been our first choice center half pairing? Why is it all of a sudden confused? Why is there no link? There seems to be no chain between.
Okay, well, what was Jags and Distin our centre defence partnership for the second half of the season?
No, it was Stones and Distin. So,
but there you go. This I think Jags played from Boxing Day. Jags played 10 games.
Right.
UK's played for England as well. But
so what's the fix? If we don't sign anybody, which you're saying we're not going to, what's the fix?
The fix is
with our current lineup.
You can do it one of two ways. The manager will look at Jagielka and say to him, "What's gone wrong? Right, sit down. What are the problems? Where do we need to sort ourselves out?" I'm sure they'll have a team meeting and say, right, he's not doing this or he's not doing that. Because after every goal, there seems to be a lot of finger pointing. People saying, why aren't you doing your job? You don't seem to be doing your job. How did you? It's become a fashion this season. There's so many players pointing fingers at other players, and that's what will happen probably. I'm sure players will sit down and we'll talk about it, and then it's up to the manager to say, right, John Stones, putting you back in the team and give you a chance. Maybe Jagielka comes out and says, and they say, right, let's have a little look at it from a different perspective, and you might need to sit on the bench. The tough part about that is he's the captain, so that's obviously going to cloud that.
Okay. Question for you with regards to Jags as captain. We saw how Tim Howard responded to the Diego Costa taunting of Coleman. Jags is right there closer. Tim reacts, Jags doesn't. Is it something where he...
Do you know what? It doesn't bother me that Jags didn't react. What actually bothered me more was when Howard was sort of doing what he was doing. That Jags didn't
red mist,
didn't run over and actually drag him away. That actually bothered me a little bit more than him not getting the red mist. To say he didn't do what something that someone shouldn't have done, I think is not necessarily right. He shouldn't really do what Howard done. I mean, it's great that he's protecting the player, but I wouldn't necessarily want my captain to do that. I think that sets a bad example. But then I would have liked him to go over and pulled Howard away. I just think that you look at his body language, and he looks like all the confidence has gone for him. He had an awful time in the World Cup. In hindsight, should he have been first choice in the World Cup? Because he got injured over Christmas. He came back, was rushed back for the Liverpool game. The injury never quite went away. He got it again. I think it was against Arsenal. No, sorry, not Arsenal. He got it a couple of weeks before that. And then sits out the whole of the 7-game run. And then I think he came back for the second to last game, was it maybe, or the third to last game?
Yeah, like maybe the
Southampton. I think he came back for Southampton.
One of those two.
So he didn't play a lot of football, and when he did play, he was injured at times. I just think that the squad, that back line needs a bit of a shake-up. And as I said, going to do something simple like putting 3 back in midfield and saying, right, we're going to be solid in midfield. We're going to let the forwards do the attacking with our fullbacks, and that could make us more solid instantly. It's not easy. That we've just played a couple of really tough games as well.
Right.
Arsenal and Chelsea. The confidence it just seems low from Jags at the moment. The manager will know which is better, he'll look him in the eye and say, right, what's the best thing? But the problem is, maybe he did that after the Arsenal game, and the Chelsea game was maybe like the last chance. And if you're going to concede 6, that's not great. So who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But you know what? It would have been nice to get another player there at the back, but we didn't. But
no, we got 4 minutes left.
There wasn't that many people in the summer actually crying out for another centre back. It wasn't one of those positions people were actually screaming out for. It's something that has come apparent in the first 3 games.
Right.
But let's just wait and see. Do you know what I mean? Let's wait and see. It's still early doors. Okay, yes, we've lost a game and drawn a couple of games, but I still think that we've got the players within the squad. Maybe Stones will come in now, and we go from there.
Yeah. Some breaking news here. We are looking for a new post-match reviewer because James Hollis just retweeted a tweet from Everton a few years back saying that we've signed Argentine striker Dennis Strackelersi on season-long loan and got some people's fume meters to rise. So we might have to look at replacing Hollis. That's not funny, man. Even though I've shook his hand.
I think it's funny.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Because that was literally the worst. That was literally the worst. That was the worst ever. The worst transfer day ever. It was horrendous.
It was pretty bad.
But yes, that's
dying minutes of the window pad. Is anything
that's what's
gonna
gone
happen?
on. So nothing's going to happen. I told you that 50 minutes ago that nothing was going to happen.
Yeah.
The talk is that Everton were quoted $8 million for
Cleverly, because Villa was in.
And I don't even think I'm saying by some reporters that a loan was never even discussed. So there you go. That's the top and bottom. But you know what? 3 or 4 hours ago, people, if you mentioned Cleverly, people would have said, I don't want Cleverly. And then people suddenly go, well, we're signing someone. And then they get it in their heads. And then because we don't sign them, they start kicking off. So it's one of those
But
things.
yeah,
It's
but Cleverly was a name that came up back in June. I mean, it was someone that I believe that Martin has even said in public that he's like thought the player was uh, was decent enough and he was possibly interested in him
so why didn't he buy him in June then?
because he's at the end last
Why
year of
did he
his
buy?
contract
Well, so why
and
did he go and buy? Why did he go and buy Besic? This is
cheaper.
for
Maybe
me.
maybe that's good. Maybe better.
For me, transfer deadline day I mean, last year was brilliant, and we've had some brilliant ones with Jelavic and Pina and stuff.
I was there.
It's just a crazy day, which it doesn't really make any sense. Some people have great days. I mean, Hull have looks like they've had a great one today. Man United have bought some players, and we'll wait to see what happens with that. But at the same time, some
We don't have to
players that
see
get
Chicharito ever again. Maybe.
some players who get bought today just smack of desperation, and you look at them, and some teams could bring 6 or 7 in today, and you could look at all 6 and 7 and go, thank God we didn't get any of them. So
Right.
let's you know what let's be happy that we brought in Lukaku, we brought in Eto, we've brought in Besic, we've signed Barry on a permanent.
Yeah.
We've got Coleman on a long deal, we've got Stones
Atsu
on a long deal, got Atsu on loan, we've got Ross Barkley on a long contract. Let's be thankful for that. Okay, we didn't bring anyone in today, but that's not the same as saying that we didn't bring anyone in full stop. So I think
Right.
it hasn't been a terrible transfer window. And you know what? It'll be open again in 4 months.
Yeah, we've got like 38 games between now and then.
Yeah, got like 60 games.
It's pretty ridiculous.
It's not the end of the world. We all want to get someone. We all want that Jim White feeling. But
Yeah.
just wasn't to be this time for us.
All right, man. Anything else we care to add?
No.
We're
we
off
didn't
on
sign
Thursday,
anyone.
international break. So we'll see you back the following Thursday to preview West Brom and the Wolfsburg match.
You won't see me. But there you go.
No, you're gonna be off on vacay. So. Yeah.
So I'm sure someone will fill in.
I'm sure.
I've got an idea, and I think Eric should go for it. We won't reveal what it is yet, but
Oh. You should like stroke your beard. Go. Very interesting.
Maybe I should tell Eric.
Maybe you should let your co-host know what you're thinking. Because I've never known what you thought anyway, so it doesn't matter why we start now.
No.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Much appreciated. We'll talk to you next Thursday. See you later.
Maybe.
Come on, you Blues. Let's go. All right, we're still live on here. Not too many. There's nothing going on.
I
All right.
I think we should go.
Bye, everybody.